Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, the first one, is one of my favourite racing games out there. I like the playable cast, I like the atmosphere they bring to the games, and I think it's just generally well put together. And that is not the game I'm going to be talking about today, because that game wasn't even the first one. Sonic and Sega Superstars Tennis came before the racing game, and featured its own collection of Sega characters, but instead of driving around at high speed, they're picking up the racket and taking the issue to court. So this is a two-player tennis party game, a lot similar to Wii Tennis or Mario Tennis. If you've played games for long enough, you've played something like it down the line. The game has a nice animated cutscene to start it off, as these tend to do, just so you know that there was some care put into the product. On your court, you'll be able to move around freely, but you'll start either at the front or at the back, and you'll take turns during the sets on which side's serving, usual tennis rules. But then when it comes to actually playing the game, you'll notice something strange. Usually in a tennis game, you can press the button to swing the racket and you will swing the racket. But when I was getting into this, I missed so many of the enemy serves, because what I hadn't realised is the rackets use a charge system. Your input needs to be held for a certain amount of time, with the longer it's held, the harder you'll hit it. But if you just tap it, which is what you will naturally feel like doing, you won't do anything. So I was confused with my character running around not doing what I wanted them to do for a bit. Now you might be noticing that the people in this footage are looking a little bit freaky. Let's just say time is cruel to old media, and sometimes they do not preserve in the best condition, but it worked, and that's what mattered. So aside from just swinging the racket with charge attacks, you can also lunge towards one if you double tap it whilst it's on the way, but you'll need to do this ahead of time. If you do it when it's actually there, you'll miss. And also, to spice things up, since we are using Sega's colourful cast, you will be able to build up and unlock your all-star move, just like in the racing game, where you'll do a special attack with some strange effects. We didn't see too many in my play session, but one of them was Ulala summoning a bunch of dancing aliens to get in the way of the enemy. Back to the core tennis controls, another cool thing was that depending on the direction of your analog stick, that will be where your character directs the ball after they hit it, which some tennis games don't give you as much control over, so that was a nice inclusion. It is just tennis at the end of the day with Sega characters, so your enjoyment is mostly going to come from how much you like seeing the Sega cast. I did play it with local multiplayer, as I prefer to do, and it was fun-ish. Playing against each other was mostly just down to both of us not understanding the game. Once we were on the same side and we'd learnt the game a bit more, it was still kind of a washout for us. We lost to the AI, but at least we had fun doing so. The game also offers some mini-games to mix up the tennis so that it's not just the same thing over and over again. And there's a fair selection of them. One of the ones we tried out were zombies, and this mode was focused around surviving wave-based zombie attacks by bouncing your tennis ball into the enemy. With the longer you hold it down, the better damage and chance to knock over the zombies before they get you, and you have a certain amount of lives, and power-ups spawn. It's an interesting twist to tennis, but once one of you die, the other person will be on their own, and I couldn't figure out a way to get more lives to bring them back. So playing it two-player can kind of suck if one of you is a lot better than the other. And the other party mode we tried was staying alive by dodging a bunch of incoming hostile projectiles. There was no actual hitting the racket on anything, you just had to dodge everything. And the most interesting thing about that game mode was seeing the Sonic 06 Eggman robots present in the game. It's really odd seeing them on the PlayStation 2 when it was the next generation game, and it's also funny because you've got to think that this was probably in development before Sega felt the full backlash of Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. So with their appearance here, they were clearly hoping for a different future. Overall, it was a fine enough experience. The more you like tennis and local party games like that, the more fun you'll have, and I'll definitely say that if you're not able to play it with someone, then perhaps there's a better tennis game out there. Most of the enjoyment you're going to get one way or the other is by playing it with somebody else. But there's definitely been harsher opinions on this channel, so I'd say that still comes out pretty good for a game its age. Have you played Sega All-Stars Tennis? Did you enjoy it, and will you play it again? Let me know in the comments down below. This brings today's video to a close, so thank you for watching it all the way to the end. This is the Mighty Mage signing off.